Chapter 14 Prameya, Shakti Tattva. The Venerable Babaji's teachings from the previous night made a deep impression upon Brajanath, and as he contemplated all those instructions, he felt satisfied. Sometimes he thought, "Oh, how extraordinary and unparalleled are Sri Gauranga's teachings! Just hearing them, I feel as if thrust within the waves of an ocean of nectar. And the more I hear, the more thirsty and eager I become to hear. It appears that the condensed nectar of all tattvas streams from Babaji Maharaj's lotus mouth, and my heart never becomes satiated by hearing. All his teachings on Siddhanta are perfectly balanced, without a trace of inconsistency. It is as if the Shastras are all running after those conclusions to verify every letter of them. I can't understand why the Brahmana society criticizes these teachings. I think that their bias towards Mayavad has made them adopt a false philosophy." Brajanath was thinking in this way when he reached Raghunath Das Babaji's kutir. First he offered obeisances to the kutir, and then seeing Babaji Mahashai, he offered obeisances to him. Babaji Mahashai lovingly embraced him and made him sit beside him. Sitting down with great enthusiasm, Brajanath asked, "Prabhu, you told me yesterday that you would explain the third shlok of Dashamula. I earnestly desire to hear it. Kindly be merciful and explain it to me." Babaji became very happy to hear this, and with his hairs standing on end in rapture, began to speak. "Parakyaya Shaktir apritag, apisasve mahimani, stito jivakyam svam achid, abhihitam tam tripadikam, swatantrechcha shaktim sakala, vishaye prerana paro, vikaradhyai shunya parama, purusho yang vijayate." Dashamula 3. Although Sri Bhagavan is non-different from his inconceivable transcendental potency, Parashakti, he has his own independent nature and desires. His Parashakti consists of three aspects: Chit Shakti, spiritual potency; Jiva Shakti, marginal potency; and Maya Shakti, external potency. And he always inspires them to engage in their respective functions. That Paratattva, supreme absolute truth, even while performing all these activities, still remains immutable and is eternally situated in the fully transcendental swarup of his own glory. Brajanath. The Brahmanas declare that the Brahman form of the Paratattva has no Shakti, and they say that his Shakti is only manifest in his Ishvara form. I would like to hear the conclusions of the Vedas about this. Babaji. The Shakti of Paratattva manifests in all of his forms. The Vedas say, "Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, na tat samascha byadikas drishyate, parasya shaktir vividaiva suryate, svabhaviki jnana bala kriyacha." Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6, 7-8. None of the activities of that Parabrahma, Paramatma, are mundane, because none of his senses, such as his hands and legs, are material. Thus, through the medium of his transcendental body, he performs his pastimes without any material senses, and he is present everywhere at the same time. Therefore, no one is equal to him, what to speak of being greater than him. The one divine potency of Parameshvara has been described in Shruti in many ways, among which the description of his Gyan Shakti, knowledge, his Bala Shakti, power, and his Kriya Shakti, potency for activity, are most important. These are also called Chit Shakti or Samvit Shakti, Sat Shakti or Sandini Shakti, and Ananda Shakti or Hladini Shakti respectively. Regarding the description of the Chit Shakti, it is said, "Te dhyana yoga nugata apashyam, devatma shaktim swagune nigudam, Shvetashvatara Upanishad 1.3. The Tattva Gyan Rishis established themselves in Samadhi Yoga, and being infused with the qualities of Parabrahma, through those qualities they have directly perceived his most confidential, internal transcendental potencies. Thus they have realized Bhagavan, who is the basis and governor of all causes, of the Jiva, of Prakriti, material nature, of Kala, time, and of Karma. Regarding Jiva Shakti, Ejam ekam lo hitasukla krishnam, bhavi praja shri jamanam svarupa, ajo heko ju shamano nushete, jahat yenam bhukta bogam ajonya. Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.5. There are two types of unborn Aja Jivas. Jivas of the first type are Agyani, ignorant, and worship Bhagavan's Prakriti. That Prakriti, whose modes are red, white, and black, is also unborn like Bhagavan. However, the second type of Aja are Jnanis. They have overcome ignorance, and therefore completely renounce that Prakriti, which the others strive to enjoy. Regarding Maya Shakti, Chandanksi yagna kratavo vratani, bhutam bhavyam yach chaveda vedanti, asman mayi shrijate vishvame tat, tasmings chanyo maya yasani ruda. Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.9. Paramatma, who is the master of Maya Prakriti, the deluding material nature, has created all the teachings of the Vedas, special yagyas, such as Jyotishoma, that are performed with ghee, various types of brata, fasts, sacrifices, penances, and everything else in existence in the past, present, and future. That is, the entire world, whose description is found in the Vedas. The Ishvara of Maya has created all of this, and the Aja Jivas are bound by his Maya. The Vedic mantra, Parasya Shakti, quoted previously, explains that there is transcendental Shakti in even the highest stage of Paratattva. The personal appearance of that Paratattva is called Bhagavan, and the Nirvishesh manifestation is called Brahman. Nowhere in the Vedas is the Paratattva described as being without Shakti. What is called Brahman is a manifestation of Paratattva, and this Nirvishesh Brahm is also manifested by Parashakti. Therefore, there is transcendental potency in Nirgun Nirvishesh Brahm as well. In some places in the Vedas and the Upanishads, this Parashakti is called Swarup Shakti. In others, Chit Shakti, and elsewhere it has been called Antaranga Shakti. Actually, there is no such Vastu as Brahman without Shakti. It is simply an imagination of the Mayavadis. In reality, the Nirvishesh Brahm is beyond the limited conception of Mayavad. The Savishesh Brahm has been described as follows in the Vedas. Ya eka varano bahuda shakti yogad, varnan anekan nihitarto dadati. Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.1. Although he has one color, he assumes several colors, bhavs, by dint of his personal Shakti. Many colors, that is various types of potency, exist within him. Indeed, the whole world has its being in him, for he is its creator. Ya eko jalavan ishita ishani bihi, salval lokan ishita ishani bihi. Shvetashvatara Upanishad 3.1. He who is the Ishvara of the whole world is one without a second, and he is the Lord of Maya, which is like a net in which the Jivas are ensnared. He regulates the entire world by his Aisha Shakti. Now see how the Shakti of Paratattva is never absent from him. Paratattva is always self-illuminated and self-manifesting. The Vedic mantras describe the three types of Shakti of that self-manifested Tattva as follows. That Paramatma is omniscient and the creator of the world. He is self-born, Atma Yoni, the controller of Kala, time, the knower of all, the Ishvara of Pradhan, Maya, and the Ishvara of the Ketra Gyans, Jivas. He is full of all transcendental qualities, and is beyond all material qualities, yet he is their master. He binds the Jivas in samsara, places them in their positions, and liberates them from it. This mantra describes the three states of Parashakti. The word Pradhan denotes Maya Shakti. The word Ketragyan denotes the Jiva Shakti, and the Chit Shakti has been alluded to by the word Ketragyan Pati. The Mayavadis explain that Brahman is the condition of Paratattva without Shakti, and that Ishvara is of this state with all Shakti. But this doctrine is simply imaginary. In reality, Bhagavan always possesses all Shakti. Shakti is present in all of his aspects. He is eternally situated in his Swarup, and although he has all Shakti in that Swarup, he himself remains the Supreme Person, full of his own independent will. Brajanath. If he is fully associated with Shakti, he only works with the assistance of Shakti. Then where is his independent nature and desire? Babaji. Shakti Shakti Matayo Abeda. According to this statement in Vedanta, Shakti, potency, and the Shaktiman Purush, the Supreme Person who possesses all Shakti, are non-different. Work shows the influence of Shakti. That is, all work is accomplished only by the means of Shakti. However, the desire to do work is an indication of Shaktiman. The mundane material world is the work of Maya Shakti. All the Jivas are the work of Jiva Shakti, and the Chid Jagat, spiritual world, is the work of Chit Shakti. Bhagavan inspires the Chit Shakti, Jiva Shakti, and Maya Shakti to be engaged in their respective activities, but he himself is still nirvikara, unattached and unaffected. Brajanath. How can he remain nirvikara when he works according to his independent desire? Indeed, to be possessed of independent desire, swa-ichamaya, means that he experiences vikar, transformation. Babaji. Nirvikar means to be free from material transformations, mayik vikar. Maya is the shadow of Swarup Shakti. The work of Maya is reality, but it is not an eternal reality. Thus the defect of Maya is not present in the Paratattva. The vikar that is present in Sri Hari in the form of his desire and pastimes is nothing but the highest manifestation of prem. Such wonderful manifestations of transcendental variegatedness are present in Advaya Gyan Bhagavan. In spite of creating the material world by his desire through his Maya Shakti, this Chit nature remains in eternal unbroken existence. Maya has no connection with the astonishing variegated Leela of Bhagavan in the spiritual world. However, Jivas whose intelligence has been rendered dull by the influence of Maya think that the wonderful variegatedness of the spiritual world is just another affair of Maya. One who suffers from jaundice sees everything as yellow, and one whose eyes are covered by clouds perceives the sun also to be covered by clouds. Similarly, those with Mayic intelligence imagine that transcendental names, forms, qualities and pastimes are also Mayic. The purport is that Maya Shakti is a shadow of Chit Shakti, so the variegatedness found in spiritual activities is also reflected in the workings of Maya. The variegatedness seen in Maya Shakti is an inferior reflection or shadow of the variegatedness found in Chit Shakti. So although these two types of variegatedness are apparently similar to each other, they are actually completely opposite. Superficially, a person's reflection in a mirror appears the same as his body. However, with careful examination, they are seen to be exactly the opposite. For one is the body, and the other is its reflection. The body's various parts appear opposite in their reflection. The left hand appears on the right side, and the right hand on the left. The left eye appears on the right side, and the right eye on the left. Similarly, the variegatedness of the spiritual world and that of the material world appear superficially the same. From a subtle point of view, however, they are opposed to each other, for material variegatedness is a distorted reflection of transcendental variegatedness. Therefore, although there is apparently some similarity, they are nonetheless different in essence. That independent Supreme Person, who works by his own sweet will, is the controller of Maya. He is free from any Mayic transformation, and through Maya he fulfills his purposes. Brajanath. Which of Sri Krishna's Shaktis is Srimati Radhika? Babaji. As Sri Krishna is the complete Shaktiman Tattva, Srimati Radhika is his complete Shakti. She can be called the complete Swarup Shakti. So that they can enact and relish their Leela, Srimati Radhika and Krishna are eternally separate, but they are also eternally inseparable, just as musk and its scent are mutually inseparable, and fire and its heat cannot be separate from each other. That Swarup Shakti, Srimati Radhika, has three kinds of potency of activity, Kriya Shakti. They are known as Chit Shakti, Jiva Shakti, and Maya Shakti. The Chit Shakti is also called the internal potency, Antaranga Shakti. Maya Shakti is called the external potency, Bahiranga Shakti. And the Jiva Shakti is called the marginal potency, Tatashta Shakti. Although Swarup Shakti is one, she acts in these three ways. All the eternal characteristics of Swarup Shakti are completely present in the Chit Shakti, present to a minute degree in the Jiva Shakti, and present in a distorted way in the Maya Shakti. Apart from the three kinds of Kriya Shakti, potency of activity, that I have described, Swarup Shakti also has three other types of function, named Hladini, Sandini, and Samvit. They are described as follows in the Dashamula 4. Savai Hladinyas cha pranaya vikrite hladana ratas tata samvich chakti prakatita raho bhava rasita tata shri sandinya krita vishatatad dharma nichaye rasambo dao magno braja rasavilasi vijayate. There are three functions of Swarup Shakti, Hladini, Sandini, and Samvit. Krishna remains perpetually immersed in the pranaya vikar of the Hladini Shakti. Because of the confidential bhavs evoked by Samvit Shakti, he is ever situated as Rasik Shekhar in relishing newer and newer rasa. That supremely independent pastime prince, Sri Krishna, is ever drowned within the ocean of Braja Ras in his transcendental bliss-filled abodes, headed by Vrindavan, which are manifest through Sandini Shakti. All glories to him. The purport is that the three aspects of Swarup Shakti, namely Hladini, Sandini, and Samvit, completely influence all the activities of the Chit Shakti, Jiva Shakti, and Maya Shakti. The Hladini Vritti of Swarup Shakti, as Srimati Radhika, the daughter of Rishabhanu Maharaj, gives full transcendental bliss and enjoyment to Krishna. Srimati Radhika is the embodiment of Mahabhav. She gives happiness to Krishna in her own transcendental form, and she also eternally manifests 8 bhavs as the 8 principal Shakis, who are direct extensions, Kaya Vyuha, of her own Swarup. Besides that, she manifests her 4 different types of service moods as the 4 different types of Sakis, namely Priya Sakis, Narma Sakis, Prana Sakis, and Paramapreshta Sakis. All these Sakis are Nitya Siddha Sakis within the transcendental realm of Braj. The Sanvit Vritti of Swarup Shakti manifests all the various moods of the relationships, Sambandha Bhavs, within Braj. Sandini manifests everything in Braj that consists of water, earth, and so on, such as the villages, forests, gardens, and Giri Govardhan, which are places of Krishna's pastimes. It also manifests all the other transcendental objects used in Krishna's pastimes, as well as the transcendental bodies of Sri Radhika, Sri Krishna, the Sakis, Sakas, cows, Dasas, Dasis, and so on. Sri Krishna is always engrossed in supreme bliss in the form of the Pranaya Vikar of Hladini, and being endowed with the various bhavs manifested by the Samvit Vritti, he relishes Pranaya Ras. Through the Samvit Vritti of his Parashakti, Krishna performs activities such as attracting the gopis by playing on his vamsi, taking the cows out for grazing, Gocharan, Ras Lila, and other pastimes. Sri Krishna, who is Brajavilasi, the enjoyer of pastimes in Braj, always remains immersed in rasa in his transcendental dham, which is manifested by the Sandini potency. Amongst all the abodes of his pastimes, the abode of his Braj pastimes is the sweetest. Brajanath, you have just explained that Sandini, Samvit, and Hladini are all manifestations of Swarup Shakti. You have also said that Jiva Shakti is an atomic part of Swarup Shakti, and that Maya Shakti is the reflection of Swarup Shakti. Now kindly explain how the Sandini, Samvit, and Hladini tendencies act upon the Jiva and on Maya. Babaji. Jiva Shakti is the atomic potency of Swarup Shakti, and all three aspects of Swarup Shakti are present in it to a minute degree. Thus the Hladini Vritti is always present in the Jiva in the form of Brahmananda, spiritual bliss. Samvit Vritti is present in the form of Brahmagyan, transcendental knowledge, and Sandini Vritti is present in the Jiva's minute form. I will explain this subject matter more clearly when we discuss Jiva Tattva. In Maya Shakti, the Hladini Vritti is manifest in the form of mundane pleasure, Jadanand. Samvit Vritti is manifest in the form of material knowledge, Bhautik Gyan, and the Sandini Shakti is manifest in the form of the entire material universe, which consists of the 14 planetary systems and the material bodies of the Jivas. Brajanath, why is Shakti called inconceivable if all its activities can be understood like this? Babaji, these topics can be understood in isolation from each other, but their relationships are inconceivable. In the material world, because opposite qualities have the inherent tendency to annihilate each other, principles that are mutually opposed cannot be present together at the same place. However, Sri Krishna's Shakti has such inconceivable power that in the spiritual world it manifests all the mutually opposing qualities together at the same time and in a very wonderful and beautiful manner. Even though Sri Krishna has the most beautiful form, Rup, he is formless, Arupa. He has a transcendental Murti, form, but he is present everywhere. He is always active, and yet being unaffected, he performs no karma. He is the son of Nanda Maharaj, although he is unborn. He is simply a cowherd boy, although he is worshipped by all others. And he has a human-like form and bhav, although he is omniscient. Similarly, he possesses all qualities, Savishesh, and yet he has no qualities, Nirvishesh. He is achintya, inconceivable, and full of rasa. He is both limited and limitless. He is very far away and very close by. He is unaffected, nirvikar, and yet he is afraid of the man, sulking mood or apparent anger of the gopis. How far can we enumerate the infinite variety of Sri Krishna's qualities such as these? They contradict each other, and yet they are eternally and beautifully present, without opposition or conflict, in his Swarup, form, his abode, and in the various paraphernalia related to him. This is the inconceivable nature of his Shakti. Brajanath. Do the Vedas accept this? Babaji. It has been accepted everywhere. It has been said in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 3.19. Apani pado javano grahita, pashyatya chakshu sasrinotya karana, sa veti vedyam nachatesyasti veta, tam ahu argyam purusham mahantam. That Paramatma has no material hands or legs, but he accepts everything with his transcendental hands, and goes everywhere with his transcendental legs. He has no material eyes or ears, yet he sees and hears everything with his transcendental eyes and ears. He knows all that is to be known, and the activities of everything, but no one can know him unless he reveals himself. The Transcendentalists who know Brahman call him the original personality, the great Purush, who is the cause of all causes. In the Isha Upanishad we find the following statement. Tad ejati tanaijati, tad dure tad vantike, tad antar asya sarvasya, tad usarvasya sabhayataha. Isha Upanishad 5. That Parameshwara walks, and yet he does not walk. He is further than the furthest, yet he is also nearer than the nearest. He is within everything, and at the same time outside of everything. This is how the qualities in the spiritual world are perfectly resolved, although they appear to contradict each other. That Paramatma is omnipresent and pure. He has no material form, but he has an eternal, transcendental form full of knowledge and bliss. This body has no veins or holes, and is beyond all designations. He is the primeval sage and poet. He is omniscient, and he appears by his own desire. He is situated on the highest platform, and he controls everything. By his inconceivable potency, he maintains everything throughout eternity, and engages all others in work according to their qualities. Isha Upanishad 8. Brajanath. Is there any description in the Vedas of Bhagavan who is completely independent, appearing in this material world of his own volition? Babaji. Yes, the Vedas mention it in several places. The Talavakara or Kena Upanishad relates a dialogue between Uma and Mahendra, Shri Shivji, which describes how once a fierce battle took place between the Devatas and the Asuras. On this occasion, the Asuras were heavily defeated and fled from the battlefield. The Devatas were victorious, although the victory was actually Bhagavan's alone, and the Devatas were only his instruments. However, out of pride and arrogance, the Devatas forgot this and began to boast of their strength and valor. At this point, Parabrahma, Bhagavan, who is the reservoir of mercy, appeared there in a wonderful form, and inquired as to the cause of their pride. He then produced a straw, and asked them to destroy it. The Devatas were amazed, for the Deva of fire could not burn it, nor could the Deva of wind lift it, despite exerting all their potency and prowess. The Devas were astounded to see Bhagavan's extraordinarily beautiful form and wonderful power. Kena Upanishad 3.6. That Yaksha, who was actually Bhagavan, put a straw in front of Agnidev and said, "Let us see your strength. Can you burn this dry straw?" Agnidev went close to that straw and directed all his powers at it, but he could not burn it. Ashamed, he returned and said to the Devatas, "I cannot understand who this Yaksha is." The confidential purport of the Vedas is that Bhagavan is an inconceivably beautiful person. He appears by his own sweet desire and performs various pastimes with the jivas. Brajanath. Bhagavan has been called an ocean of rasa. Is this described anywhere in the Vedas? Babaji, it is clearly stated in the Taittiriya Upanishad 2.7. Yad vai tat sukritam raso vai saha, rasam hye vayang, labdavandi bhavati, ko hye vanyat ka pranyat, yad esha akasha anando na syat, esha hi evanandayati. Para Brahma Paramatma is the Sukrita Brahma, the very handsome Supreme Spirit. His Swarup is unalloyed rasa, and when the Jiva realizes this rasa Swarup Para Brahma, he becomes full of Ananda. Who would endeavor to live if that undivided reality were not the embodiment of Ananda in the form of rasa? Paramatma alone gives bliss to all. Brajanath, if he is rasa Swarup, why can't the materialists see him or comprehend him? Babaji, there are two types of conditioned jivas, those who are turned away from Krishna, parak, and those who are facing Krishna, pratyak. Jivas in the parak state cannot see Krishna's beauty because they are opposed to him. They only see and think about material things. Jivas in the pratyak state are opposed to Maya and favorable to Krishna, so they can see Krishna's rasa swarup. It is said in the Katha Upanishad, Paranchikani vatranat svayambus, tasmat paran pashyati nantarantmam, kaschit dira pratyag atmanam aikshad, avrita chakshu amritatvam icchan. The self-born Parameshvara has made all the senses so that they tend towards external objects. That is why the jiva normally perceives only external objects through his senses and is unable to see Bhagavan situated within his heart. Only a grave and resolute person, Dhira, who desires liberation in the form of love of Krishna, can disengage his ears and other senses from external objects and see the Pratyag Atma Sri Bhagavan. Brajanath, who is the one who has been called the embodiment of rasa in the shloka Raso Vaisaha? Babaji, it is said in Gopala Tapani Upanishad, Purvakand 12.13, Gopa Vesham Abrabam Tarunam Kalpa Drumashritam Sat Pundarik Nayanam Megabam Vaidyutambaram Dvibhujam Mano Mudradyam Vana Malinam Ishwaram. His dress is like that of a cowherd boy. His eyes are like a fully blossomed white lotus. The hue of his body is blackish-blue like monsoon clouds, and he wears an effulgent yellow cloth that is as brilliant as lightning. His form is two-handed, and he is situated in Gyan Mudra, the pose indicating divine knowledge. His neck is beautified with a garland of forest flowers that reaches to his feet, and he is standing beneath the divine Kalpavriksha. That Sri Krishna is the Lord of all. Brajanath, now I understand that Sri Krishna in his Nitya Siddha Swarup within the spiritual world is all-powerful, the embodiment Swarup of Rasa, and the abode Ashraya Swarup of all Rasa. He cannot be attained by Brahma Gyan. If one practices the eightfold system of yoga, one can only realize his partial manifestation as Paramatma. Nirvishesh Brahm is but the bodily luster of Sri Krishna, who is full of eternal spiritual qualities and is the worshipable Lord of all worlds. However, we can find no means to attain him because he is beyond the jurisdiction of our thinking power. Moreover, what means do human beings have apart from their faculty of contemplation? Whether one is a Brahmana or an untouchable, he does not have any means other than his mind. Therefore it is very difficult to attain Sri Krishna's mercy. Babaji, it is said in the Katha Upanishad 2.2.13, Tam atmashtanye nupashyanti dhiras, te sham shanti shashvati ne tare sham. Only the wise man who sees Paramatma within himself can achieve eternal peace. No one else can. Brajanath. One may be able to attain eternal peace by constantly seeing him within oneself, but what is the process by which one can see him? It is difficult to understand this. Babaji. It is said in the Katha Upanishad 1.2.23, Nayam atma pravachanena labhyo, na maid hayana bahuda shrutena, yam eva shevrinute tena labhyas, tasyaisa atma vivrunate tanum svam. One cannot attain Parabrahma, Paramatma by lecturing, by intellect, or by the study of various shastras. He only reveals his transcendental form by his own mercy to one whom he himself accepts. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.29, Atapi te deva padambuja dvaya, prasada lasan gruhiti eva hi, janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno, na chanya eko picharam vichinvan. O Lord, one who attains even a little of the mercy of your two lotus feet can comprehend the essence of your transcendental glories. Others cannot realize the essential truth of yourself, even though they may keep searching for you for many years through Gyan and Vairagya. O my son, my Prabhu is very munificent. That Sri Krishna, who is the soul of all souls, cannot be attained by reading or hearing various shastras, or by arguments and discussions, nor can he be attained through sharp intelligence, or by accepting several gurus. Only one who accepts him as my Krishna can attain him. He will only manifest his transcendental Satchit Ananda form to such a bhakta. When we realize the Abhideya Tattva, we will be able to understand these truths easily. Brajanath. Are the names of Krishna's abodes written anywhere in the Vedas? Babaji. Yes, names such as Paravyoma, Brahma Gopal Puri, and Gokul are found in several places in the Vedas. For example, the Shvetashvatara Upanishad says, Rikchokshare parame vyomam, yasmin deva adivishve nideshu, yastan naveda kimricha karishyati, ya itad vidus ta ime samasate. One must know that infallible Akshara Brahman who resides in the abode called Paravyoma. He is the subject matter of the mantras of the Rig Veda, and all the devatas take shelter of him. One who does not know that Parama Purush cannot fulfill any purpose through the Vedas. However, one becomes blessed who realizes that Paramatma in accordance with Tattva. It is said in the Mundaka Upanishad 2.2.7, Divye Brahmapure Hiesha Vyom Nyatma Pratishtitaha. That Paramatma eternally resides in the transcendental Brahmapura, that is the form of Paravyoma. It is said in the Purusha Bodhini Shruti, Gokulakye Mathura Mandale, Dve Parasve Chandravali Radhika Cha. In the area of Mathura called Gokul, Srimati Radhika is situated on one side of Bhagavan and Chandravali on the other. It is stated in the Gopal Tapani Upanishad, Tasham Madhye Shakshat Brahma Gopala Purihi. Brahma Gopal Puri is situated in the middle of the group of transcendental abodes. Brajanath. Why do the Tantriki Brahmanas call Shiva's potency Durga? Babaji. The deluding potency, Maya Shakti, is called Shiva Shakti. This Maya has three modes, namely Sattva, Raja and Tama. Brahmanas in the Sattvic mode worship Maya in a pure way as the form that embodies Sattva Gun. Brahmanas in the Rajasic mode worship Maya in the form that embodies Raja Gun. And Brahmanas in the Tamasic mode worship Maya as the presiding deity of darkness, Tamagun, taking ignorance to be knowledge. In fact, Maya Shakti is only a name for the transformation, Vikar, of Bhagavan's Parashakti in the form of its shadow, Chaya. It is not a separate, independent Shakti. Maya is the sole cause of the Jiva's bondage and liberation. When the Jiva becomes opposed to Krishna, Maya punishes him by throwing him into worldly bondage. However, when the Jiva becomes favorable to Krishna, the same Maya manifests the sattvic quality and gives him knowledge of Krishna. She then liberates him from worldly bondage and makes him qualified to attain love of Krishna. Consequently, the Jivas bound by the modes of Maya cannot see the pure form of Maya, that is, the Swarup Shakti of Bhagavan, and they worship Maya alone as the primeval Shakti. The Jiva in the state of illusion can only realize these advanced philosophical truths by good fortune and by the power of Sukriti. Otherwise, being bewildered by Maya and entangled in false conclusions, he remains bereft of real knowledge. Brajanath. In Gokul Upasana, Durga Devi has been counted among Sri Hari's associates. Who is this Durga of Gokul? Babaji. Durga of Gokul is none other than Yoga Maya. She is situated as the seed of transformation of Chit Shakti, so when she is present in the spiritual world, she considers herself to be non-different from the Swarup Shakti. The material Maya is only a transformation of that Yoga Maya. Durga situated in the material world is an attendant maidservant of that Durga of the Swarup Shakti in the spiritual world. The Durga of the spiritual Shakti is Lila Posana Shakti, the potency that nourishes Krishna's pastime. The gopis who have taken complete shelter of the Parakiya Bhav, Paramore mood, bestowed by Yoga Maya, nourish Krishna's Rasa Vilas in the spiritual world. The purport of the statement, Yoga Mayam Upashrita, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.29.1, about the Rasa Lila, is that there are many such activities in Krishna's transcendental pastimes that appear like ignorance due to the Swarup Shakti, but factually they are not. In order to nourish Maharas, Yoga Maya stages activities that appear to be performed in ignorance. We will analyze this subject in detail later on when we discuss Rasa. Brajanath, there is one thing that I wish to know concerning Dham Tattva. Kindly tell me, why do the Vaishnavas refer to Navadvip as Sri Dham? Babaji, Sri Navadvip Dham and Sri Vrindavan Dham are non-different from each other, and Mayapur is the highest truth within Navadvip Dham. The relationship of Sri Mayapur to Navadvip is the same as the relationship of Sri Gokul to Braj. Mayapur is the Mahayogapit, the great place of meeting of Navadvip. According to the shloka, Chana Kalo of Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.38, the plenary avatar of Bhagavan who appears in Kali Yuga, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is covered, and similarly his holy abodes are also covered. In Kali Yuga, no other place is equal to Sri Navadvip. Only one who can realize the transcendental nature of this Dham is actually qualified for Brajaras. From an external material point of view, both Braj Dham and Navadvip Dham appear to be mundane. Only those whose spiritual eyes have by some good fortune been open can see the Dham as it is. Brajanath, I want to know the Swarup of this Navadvip Dham. Babaji, Golok, Vrindavan and Swetadvip are the inner compartments of Paravyoma, the spiritual sky. Sri Krishna's Swakiya Leela takes place in Goloka. His Parakiya Leela takes place in Vrindavan, and his Parishishta, supplementary Leela, takes place in Swetadvip. In Tattva, there is no difference between these three Dhams. Navadvip is really Swetadvip, so it is non-different from Vrindavan. The residents of Navadvip are very fortunate, for they are associates of Sri Gaurangadev. One can only attain residence of Navadvip after performing many pious activities. Some rasa is not manifested in Vrindavan, but that very rasa is manifest in Navadvip as the supplement of Vrindavan rasa. One experiences that rasa only when one becomes competent to relish it. Brajanath, how large is Navadvip Dham? Babaji, the area of Sri Navadvip Dham is 16 krosha and is shaped like that of a lotus flower with 8 petals, which are the 8 islands. Simantadvip, Godrumdvip, Madhyadvip, Koladvip, Ritudvip, Janudvip, Modrumdvip, and Rudavadvip. Antardvip, which is situated in the center of these islands, is like the whorl of a lotus flower, and Sri Mayapur is situated at the very heart of this Antardvip. One can quickly attain love of Krishna by performing sadhan bhajan in Navadvip Dham, and especially in Mayapur. The Mahayogapit, the residence or mandir of Sri Jagannath Mishra, is situated in the center of Mayapur, and in this very Yogapit, the most fortunate of all jivas always take darshan of Sri Gauranga Dev's Nitya Leela. Brajanath, are the pastimes of Sri Gauranga Dev a work of Swarup Shakti? Babaji, Sri Gaura's pastimes are arranged by the same Shakti who arranges Sri Krishna's pastimes. There is no difference between Sri Krishna and Gauranga Dev. Sri Swarup Goswami says, Radha Krishna pranaya vikritir, kladini shaktir asmad, ekatmanav apibhuvi pura, deha bedang gatau tau, chaitanyakyam prakatam aduna, tadvayam chakyam aptam, radha bhava tuti suvalitam, nomi Krishna swarupam. Radha Krishna are intrinsically one. However, they are manifest eternally in 2 forms through the influence of Hladini Shakti in the form of their pranaya vikar, because of the eternality of their pastimes, Vilas Tattva. Now these 2 tattvas are manifested in one Swarup in the form of Chaitanya Tattva. Therefore, I bow to this Swarup of Krishna that is endowed with the loving sentiments and luster of Srimati Radhika. Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are both eternally manifest. It cannot be determined which of them came earlier and who came later. First Chaitanya was here, and then Radha Krishna manifested, and now they have merged together again and appeared in the form of Chaitanya Dev. The understanding of this statement is not that one of them existed earlier and the other appeared later. Both manifestations are eternal. They are present for all time and will exist for all time. All the pastimes of the Supreme Truth are eternal. Those who think that one of these pastimes is principal and the other is secondary are ignorant of the truth and devoid of rasa. Brajanath, if Sri Gauranga Dev is directly the complete plenary truth, what then is the process for his worship? Babaji, worshipping Gaura by chanting Gaura Nam Mantra awards the same benefit as worshipping Krishna by chanting his holy names in Sri Krishna Nam Mantra. Worshipping Gaura through the Krishna Mantra is the same as worshipping Krishna by the Gaura Mantra. Those who believe that there is a difference between Gaura and Krishna are extremely foolish. They are simply servants of Kali. Brajanath, where can one find the mantra of the hidden avatar, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Babaji, the tantras which contain the mantras of the manifest avatars also contain the mantra of the hidden avatar in a secret way. Those whose intelligence is not crooked can understand it. Brajanath, by what method is Gauranga worshipped as Yugala, in a dual form? Babaji, Sri Gauranga's Yugala is formed in one way in the Archan process, and another way in the Bhajan process. Sri Gaura Vishnu Priya are worshipped in the process of Archan, and in the process of Bhajan, one performs seva of Sri Gaura Gadadhar. Brajanath, which Shakti of Sri Gauranga is Sri Vishnu Priya? Babaji, the Bhaktas generally refer to her as Bhu Shakti. However, in reality, she is the Samvit potency combined with the essence of Hladini. In other words, she is the personified form of Bhakti, who has descended to assist Gaura Avatar in the work of spreading Sri Nam. Just as Navadvip Dham is the personified form, Swarup, of the ninefold processes of devotional service, Navadya Bhakti, so Sri Vishnu Priya is also the Swarup of Navada Bhakti. Brajanath. So can Vishnu Priya Devi be called Swarup Shakti? Babaji. How can there be any doubt about this? Is the combination of Samvit Shakti and the essence of Hladini Shakti anything but Swarup Shakti? Brajanath. Prabhuji, I will soon learn to worship Sri Gora. I have just remembered something else that I would like you to please explain to me clearly. You have explained that Chit Shakti, Jiva Shakti and Maya Shakti are three manifestations of Swarup Shakti. That Hladini, Sangvit and Sandini are three functions, vrittis, of Swarup Shakti, and that these three functions, namely Hladini, Sangvit and Sandini, act on the three manifestations, Chit Shakti, Jiva Shakti and Maya Shakti. All of this is simply the work of Shakti. Apart from this, the spiritual world, the spiritual body, and the spiritual pastimes are also indications of Shakti alone. Then what is the indication of Shaktiman Krishna? Babaji, this is a very difficult problem. Do you want to kill this old man with the sharp arrows of your arguments? My dear son, the answer is as simple as the question, but it is difficult to find a person who is qualified to understand it. Anyway, I shall explain it, so please try to understand. I agree that Krishna's name, form, qualities and pastimes all indicate the function of Shakti. However, freedom, swatantrata, and free will, svaichamayata, are not the work of Shakti. They are both intrinsic activities of the Supreme Person, and Krishna is that Supreme Person who has free will and is the abode of Shakti. Shakti is the enjoyed, and Krishna is the enjoyer. Shakti is dependent, but Krishna is independent. Shakti surrounds that independent Supreme Person on all sides, but he is always conscious of Shakti. The independent Purush is the master of Shakti, even though he is covered by Shakti. Human beings can only realize that Supreme Person, Parama Purush, by taking shelter of that Shakti. That is why the conditioned Jiva cannot realize the identity of Shaktiman independently from realizing the identity of Shakti. However, when the bhaktas develop love for Shaktiman, they are able to perceive him, who is beyond Shakti. Bhakti is a form of Shakti, and that is why she has a female form. Being under the guidance of Krishna's internal potency, Swarup Shakti, she experiences the pastimes of the Purush. Those pastimes indicate that Krishna is possessed of both free will and the intrinsic quality of being the predominating enjoyer. Brajanath. If we accept a Tattva beyond Shakti that is devoid of characteristics by which it can be identified, that Tattva would be the same as the Brahman described in the Upanishads. Babaji. The Brahman of the Upanishads is devoid of desires, but Krishna, the Parama Purush, who is described in the Upanishads, is actually composed of free will, sva-ichamaya. There is a big difference between the two. Brahman is nirvishesh, without any attributes. Conversely, even though Krishna is distinct from Shakti, he is savishesh, possessed of form and attributes, because he has the qualities of Purusattva, manhood, Vakritva, being the enjoyer, Adhikar, authority, and Svatantrata, independence. In reality, Krishna and his Shakti are non-different. The Shakti that indicates Krishna's presence is also Krishna, because Krishna Kamini Shakti, in the form of Sri Radha, manifests her identity in a female form. Krishna is the one who is served, and the Supreme Shakti, Srimati Ji, is his Sevadasi. Their individual abhiman, self-conceptions, are the only tattva that differentiates them. Brajanath, if Krishna's desire and capacity to enjoy indicate the form of Purush, what is Srimati Radhika's desire? Babaji, Srimati Radhika's desire is subordinate to Krishna's. None of her desires or efforts are independent of his desire. Krishna has desires, and Srimati Radhika's desire is to serve Krishna according to his desires. Srimati Radhika is the complete and original Shakti, and Krishna is Purush, that is, he controls and inspires Shakti. After this discussion, Babaji Maharaj observed that it was quite late at night and asked Brajanath to return to his home. Brajanath offered Dandavat Pranam at Babaji Maharaj's feet and walked towards Bilva Pushkarini in a blissful mood. Day by day, Brajanath's moods were changing. This very much alarmed his family members, and his paternal grandmother decided to get him married as soon as possible. She started looking for a suitable match, but Brajanath always stayed aloof from these matters and did not heed the conversations regarding marriage. Rather, he remained constantly absorbed in contemplating the various tattvas that he heard from Babaji Maharaj. He was naturally drawn to Babaji Maharaj in Srivasanga, for he wanted to realize those tattvas he had heard, and was greedy to hear ever new nectarian teachings. Thus ends the 14th chapter of Jaiva Dharma, entitled Prameya Shakti Tattva.